Trump is putting 50% tariffs on Brazil, a 50% tariff on Brazil, because they are trying Bolsonaro for the crimes that Bolsonaro has committed. Just straight up like punishment for legally, for going through the standard legal process and trying Bolsonaro for attempted insurrection. Due in part to Brazil's insidious attacks on free elections and the fundamental free speech rights of Americans, as lately illustrated by the Brazilian Supreme Court, which has issued hundreds of secret and unlawful censorship orders to U.S. social media platforms, threatening with millions of dollars in fines and eviction from the Brazilian social media market. Starting on August 1st, we will charge Brazil a tariff of 50% on any and all Brazilian products sent into the United States, separate from all sectoral tariffs. Goods transshipped to evade this 50% tariff will be subject to that higher tariff. Please understand the 50% number is far less than what is needed to have the level playing field we must have with your country. I'm sure this will happen. Well, I mean, this is kind of like the end stage of a multipolar. I mean, this is the goal, right? If you're a fascist and you run the economic hegemon, what do, right? You use your economic power to try to privilege fascists in other countries. We've done this to an extent elsewhere. Okay, so we're sending out more tariffs to all these countries. My guess is that Trump is upset about the media reporting on the fact that he promised 90 deals in 90 days, and he's actually gotten like no trade deals, and the ones that he's gotten are objectively worse than like with China. Like with China, we maintain a tariff, but their tariff on us is lower. And also with the tariff or the deal we got with the UK was worse than what we had before. And yeah, he's threatening to impose a 200% tariff or up to 200% tariffs on pharmaceuticals very soon. So, all right, cut out the links, guys. Jesus Christ, you're distracting me. Oh, not to mention the 50% tariff on copper. That's right. That's cool. Best paying job in America is about to be ripping copper wiring out of the walls. Huge day for meth heads. Yep. So he's just ass mad. I mean, in Bolsonaro's case, I think he just doesn't like the idea. Can you imagine? Like, it's probably pretty scary for Trump, right? Because in Brazil, Bolsonaro is very much like Trump, and Bolsonaro did something very similar to what Trump did. The difference being that for Bolsonaro, he actually got in trouble for it, you know? The Japan letter was so poorly written, they showed it on their national TV to pick it apart. Japan is uniquely well positioned to deal with our bullshit right now because their economy does not work the way most economies work. Because of the economic crisis that they suffered back in the 80s and 90s, the Japanese economic model is basically don't spend, save money, don't invest, just sit with your money, please God don't spend, never incur debt. And as a consequence, they interact with global trade differently and are uniquely positioned to distance themselves from the, you know, the rat race of capital accumulation that the global model depends on. Japan has a lot of debt, though. Yeah, but A, internal debt, and B, it's not just the government's debt I'm talking about. It's the private sector's debt. Do you have any idea how much debt the American private sector has racked up? It's a lot, because they keep gambling on the hope that the returns on future investment will outweigh the interest payments on the existing debt. Don't you think it's odd that there are so few companies that have a reserve fund? Like, think about it. Like, how many companies have you heard having money in reserve? Not profit, because where does that profit go? It gets invested, right? But like an actual savings account. Nintendo has a famously large one. How much is it up to? Nintendo savings. That's not going to get me what I want. Company savings. No. $11 billion with no debt? Yeah, nice. JP Morgan's reserve is insane. Well, they do know how the economy works. 3.7 trillion in assets, but assets aren't the same as having a savings account. That's not quite the same. That ain't liquid. Cash on hand as of December 2022, 600 billion. Woo! That's a lot. All right, why am I talking about this? Oh, right, yeah, Japan. The letter they laughed at. Yeah. Is it actually a Japanese thing to have reserves like that? Because Activision saves as much as Nintendo? Yes. Yes, it is. Because of their economic crash, they spent decades paying back corporate debt. Not even the federal government, but like businesses. It took them decades to pay back their debt. And now, for the most part, these companies are run by people who are paranoid of ever racking up any more. Okay, I read like one more paragraph, and Activision also has billions in debt while Nintendo has zero, so yeah, it's a Japanese thing. There you go. Japanese companies are very, very, very averse to holding debt. You know, the Japanese their Federal Reserve dropped the interest rates essentially to zero, and people still wouldn't borrow. Like with essentially like free money for investment. It was objectively like you will make money off of it. And the companies were still like, nope, sorry, debt's evil. Interest rates were actually negative for a few years and people still didn't borrow enough money. Yeah, the government was upset because people weren't buying the damn treasury bonds. The government was like, how the f are we paying back our debt if you're not? Sorry, motherfucker, you're gonna have to pay back your debt with raising taxes. Simply don't have debt, okay? Like if any other country did Japan's monetary policy, they would get hyperinflation within a year. Oh yeah, if the Federal Reserve in America offered a negative interest rate, the private sector would then immediately withdraw uncountable, like a hypothetical number of money, and we would get Weimar level hyperinflation. We would get like Zimbabwean inflation. You would have to stuff billion-dollar bills into your like laundromat, like bill holder, the slide to get your laundry done. By the way, this is exactly what Trump would do if he could, by the way. I don't know, man. I'm telling you, the reason why we're getting this massive wave of tariff bullshit right now is because Trump is insecure about the media coverage. Trump's trade blitz produces few deals but lots of uncertainty. Peter Navarro predicted 90 deals in 90 days. Administration officials declared that other countries were desperate to make concessions to avoid the massive import taxes, tariffs that Trump was threatening to plaster on their products starting July 9th. But 90 days have come and gone, and the tally of trade deals stands at 2, one with the United Kingdom and one with Vietnam. Trump has also announced the framework of a deal with China, in which we still have 50% tariffs on top of others, the details of which remain fuzzy. You know what? Massive credit to the rest of the world for not capitulating. Because even with Vietnam and the United Kingdom, we didn't really get anything. Like, the deal they worked out was just the same or slightly worse than what was already the case before, you know? And Starmer is a collaborationist and a piece of shit and should be tried at The Hague. I don't blame Vietnam as much because their economy is so dependent on exports to us. Like the United Kingdom, as it is in a better position to negotiate than Vietnam is. Vietnam relies on us, they export to us. I think this is just a huge embarrassment for him. This is the main thing that he ran on. But right now, economically and with regards to tariffs, Trump is underwater. Like, Trump is not popular on these issues. Not even a little bit. They are not going well for him. It's just a confusing mishmash. The narrative changes every 5 days. You know, tariffs are back on. This will bring U.S. jobs. Tariffs are gone. Art of the deal. Tariffs are on. This will bring us jobs. Tariffs are gone. Art of the deal. Tariffs on Canada never went away. Well, Mexico's still been getting through because of the exception to goods from the I'm blanking on the name of the trade deal. USMCA, thank you. The USMCA pact. So stuff in line with certain good imports exempted by that. If you look up foreign industrial investment into the United States, we're actually looking at COVID numbers. Huh. But I thought Saudi Arabia brought $5 trillion into the United States. So how do I look for that number? U.S. international investment position. Is that what I'm looking for? I'm surprised they haven't deleted this website yet. U.S. net international investment position, end of quarter 2025. Minus $25 trillion. Oh, brother. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think it was that bad. I actually didn't think it was that bad since Trump took office. Yeah, well, this is since 2016, right? So Trump's first term, why am I blank? Wait, which side of the line is, this is 2016. 2017, 2018, it's to the left. Okay, right. So yeah, to right here. And then you have the COVID drop, but then Biden levels it out, though it does go down towards the end because of inflation. It went up a tiny bit when Biden took office. Actually, hold on a second. Now that I'm realizing that this goes all the way back to 2016, so far all we're looking at is a tiny bump with Trump, aren't we? Like, most of the decline that we're looking at here is under Biden. Doesn't this actually support Trump? Aren't we winning? Sorry guys, I'm MAGA now. I don't think many Americans realize how much long-term hatred and distrust for America is solidifying Canada. If you look at public polling now, 60% of Canadians say the country that is the biggest threat to Canada is America. That's great. Shame Mark Carney immediately started doing, like, Palantir shit after winning office. Yes or no, a lot of that has to do with us literally directing foreign investment into Mexico. It is true that, like, the lack of industrial foreign investment can be compensated for by taking advantage of the comparative benefit another country can offer by producing those goods, which doesn't work if you're tariffing the ever-loving shit out of them. Who was president from 2016 to 2020? I don't know. It's been lost to time. Jeffrey Epstein? Kind of. Kinda, yeah, a little bit. That's not the most incorrect answer. Yoon Suk Yeol rearrested? That's good. Who is really ruling South Korea? That's a great question, Bit Decoder. BTS? I think it's BDS, isn't it? Or am I thinking of the Israel thing? Is BTS the K-pop? Do people ever get those confused? No, just you? Just me? Okay. What is this supposed leaked audio? Is this fake?
To Putin, I said, if you go in to Ukraine, they'll bomb the shit out of Moscow. I'm telling you, I had no choice. The public wants it. The public. The public. So he goes like, I don't believe you. He said, no way, and I said, way. And then he goes like, I don't believe you, but the truth is he believed me 10%. And I told you this, he believed me 10%. Then I'm with President Xi of China, but I said the same thing to them. I said, you know, if you go into Taiwan, I'm going to bomb the shit out of Beijing. He thought I was crazy. He said, Beijing, you're going to bomb Beijing. I said, I have no choice, I got to bomb them. We're going to bomb Beijing. And he didn't believe me either, except 10%. And 10% is all you need. In fact, 5% would have been okay too. And we never had a problem. We would have never had a problem.
Almost certainly fake. Don't really care. Yeah, it didn't really sound like him. I mean, also, with Putin, I said, if you go into Ukraine, I'm going to bomb the shit out of you. Trump told his donors, I'm telling you, I have no choice, the public. So he goes like, I don't believe you. He said, no way, and I said, way. Come on. Also, donors? What donors? Where? It's being reported on by CNN? Yeah, like that makes something legitimate. Donald Trump told a private gathering of donors last year that he once sought to deter Vladimir Putin from attacking Ukraine by threatening to bomb the shit out of Moscow. Oh, here we go. More information is being provided here. The remarks, which came as Trump made his case for a second term, were among those captured in a series of audio tapes of 2024 fundraisers in New York and Florida, which were later obtained by Josh Dawsey, Tyler Pager, and Isaac Arnsdorf, which detailed some of the exchanges in their new book, 2024. Love this habit of political insiders in Washington never revealing information until it's time for the book deal. Like Tapper, always. It's never like, oh, sensitive information leading up to an election? Nah, we can make money off of this. We gotta ban political books. Unironically, yeah, I think so. It should be illegal to produce, to profit in any way off of, well, I'd have to think about it. I'd have to think about a way to make it doable. Something execution. So he really said that? And he goes like, I don't believe you. He said no way, and I said way. That's real then. It's been corroborated. That's incredible. Yeah, he talks like that all the time. No, he doesn't talk like that all the time. Has he not said that before? He said that a couple of times. It sounds like the thing that a chatbot would pick up on. Moscow. Russia reacts to Trump saying he threatened to bomb Moscow. Russia said it could not confirm the veracity of President Trump's claim he told Russians, President Vladimir Putin he would bomb Moscow if Ukraine was invaded. Well, of course, that's a lie. That's obviously a lie. Like Trump saying that he told Xi and Putin to their faces that they would bomb their respective capital cities. That's obviously Trump lying. But if the audio's true, I mean, if the audio is real, that's funny. Wait, I'm confused. What is happening with this in general? Some donors at fundraisers for Trump's second presidential campaign caught audio of him casually saying that he threatened to bomb Beijing and Moscow in separate conversations with President Xi and President Putin. Both of those things didn't happen, but the audio is real. They didn't release it back then because it was much more profitable to wait for a book deal, which they waited for. That's funny, though. How do we figure it out if it's AI? It's been corroborated. What more do you want? Hard to do much more than that, right? Yeah. Trying to find, is anyone reporting on this? I see The Hill posted about it.
We are getting exclusive audio from 2024 of Trump then as a candidate discussing details of a private conversation that he once had with President Putin. The audio, obtained by the authors of a new book that is just out today, And for context, the president has long said that Putin would never have invaded Ukraine on his watch because of something he told him once privately. Trump had never revealed what that was.
I had a very strong conversation with President Putin, and he understood, and I won't go into the great details of the conversation because nobody has to know that, but I will tell you, it never, ever would have happened.
I don't want to say it, but did they fear me? I suspect they did.
Well, tonight we're learning those details as the audio reveals that Trump says that he threatened not just President Putin, but also China's President Xi Jinping. And this is what he told donors about what exactly that conversation looked like during a private fundraiser last year.
To Putin, I said, if you go in to Ukraine, we're going to bomb the shit out of Moscow. I'm telling you, I have no choice. The public wants it. The public. So he goes like, I don't believe you. He said, no way. And I said, way. And then he goes like, I don't believe you. But the truth is, he believed me 10%. And I told you this, he believed me 10%. Then I'm with President Xi of China. But I said the same thing to them. I said, you know, if you go into Taiwan, I'm going to bomb the shit out of Beijing. He thought I was crazy. He said, Beijing, you're going to bomb Beijing. I said, I have no choice. I got to bomb them. We're going to bomb Beijing. And he didn't believe me either, except 10%. And 10% is all you need. In fact, 5% would have been okay too. And we never had a problem. We would have never had a problem.
The Trump campaign declined to comment on the content of what you just heard there, but the three deeply sourced reporters who acquired that exclusive audio are joining me now tonight. Josh Dawsey of the Wall Street Journal, Isaac Arnsdorf of the Washington Post, of course, also Tyler Pager of the Times as well, are all three the authors on the book that is out today. 2024, how Trump retook the White House and the Democrats lost.
Genuinely, like, I think there should be prison terms for stuff like this. It's like the opposite of inside information laws, like insider trading, you know? Like, if you have insider info that you intend to disclose, do that shit when it's relevant, not when you get the book deal. Like, yeah, they held off on this because they knew a big audio drop could be used to market their book. One of a million shit wrote by the numbers, if ghost-written books on the exact same subject, which is, wow, Trump won again.